I would say that Dragon Age the Veilguard is a great example of a self-opening piñata. It seems like everywhere you turn with it, there is something to poke at how ridiculous and comically bad it is. Either from the god-awful writing, poor characterization, the propaganda that some of the game has, the switch away from tactics-based combat to more action-based, and so on. In addition to the disservice to the legacy characters, along with the secret ending that works to effectively negate all of the good the prior titles managed to build up to. There's a lot to explore and enjoy just as an observer, seeing how BioWare has fallen very far, even from the position they were in after Anthem. The Veilguard is easily a new low for the once great RPG developer, which is why when you look at the interference the media has been doing in this case, this then presents another self-opening piñata situation, where we have games media praising this title when it first launched, and then trying to release articles that sort of backpedal that praise to try and appeal to the Dragon Age fanbase that is disappointed with this game, to now just going full circle to try to play off that maybe people were right to not like the game to begin with, but then now the game is getting better with time, or that the better parts are saved for later in the game, along with how this can also be a game that can help you overcome the election results in America. And today, we're going to explore all of it. So Digital Trends released an article that had a catchy title. I thought I hated Dragon Age the Veilguard, now I love it. Just from the surface level, this does an effective job at inviting in many of the fans, who honestly didn't enjoy the game, its writing and all of that, someone like myself. I was intrigued and I had to take a look because of it. But like a good YouTube thumbnail, I felt a bit baited into this. We will get more into this a bit later. The writer found the early moments of Dragon Age to be rather boilerplate and generic, even citing too that they weren't really interested in another long fantasy game. This last piece I can relate to a lot, not being in the mood for a specific genre. I don't know about you, but I'll find myself craving certain genres at certain times, which will honestly reflect my own content on this channel, and what games I discuss for my review type videos. Sometimes I find myself needing an old favorite from the past, like say Siphon Filter, or an older game that gets a re-release, like say Tomb Raider Legend, and I use that as an excuse to play that again. Or I want something fresh and new from a specific genre, so I dive into an indie game or something like that. So I think we can all relate to this in some way, shape, and form. And something I do as someone who covers games on this channel. I don't want to force myself to play a title, especially if I'm not in the mood for it. Oftentimes I will then give it a break or go on to something else, returning to it when I want to. This is mainly because I don't want my own mood to then affect what the game is presenting as well. But I digress. So for this writer, these are their initial feelings of the game. Then this turned into something that they could not put down. 2 weeks later, it was all they wanted to do, was play this Dragon Age game. They found that the deeper they got into the story, it became more of a familiar and human story, that they then related this game to the struggles that people faced in 2024, and for the need to keep fighting on. Yes, I believe this relates to the election, we'll get into that soon. I do give the writer credit since they are forthcoming that they had never played a Dragon Age game before this one, even citing that they didn't expect something like say Baldur's Gate 3. And yet the irony of that comment is that many Dragon Age Origins fans look at that game and see what honestly could have been for Veilguard. Someone within the industry is actually still trying to make games that service that fanbase. Sadly, it doesn't happen to be coming from the current form of BioWare. Indirectly, the writer even brings up how Rook, the character that the player plays as, cannot be a more mean-spirited character, like say in the prior games, later even citing that this friendship simulator kind of experience was partially helping to win the writer over in this game. But indirectly, they pointed to a key issue that many legacy Dragon Age players have with this game: the absence of any element of real choice. I have said this plenty of times before, but where are the options to be a jerk? Why isn't it there? Why can't my dialogue choices lead to more conflict with my party members, even causing some to leave, or want to turn against me because of my opinions? Since this writer has never played a Dragon Age game before, they may not be familiar with this. But even on the surface level, why would you not want more choice in this area, especially in an RPG? The really funny part of the article is that it goes in line with what IGN said about Taash in their initial review. So here with Digital Trends, the questline with Taash, especially with this character then battling their own identity, that this writer found that this specific storyline was the most human and most nuanced story of the game. This storyline helped everything click for this critic. Also, I am confused in their comments, because they say that this storyline is the most nuanced, but at the same time, they say that it is more heavy-handed and obvious. bias. Those sort of contradict each other. Which is it? The whole explanation of Taash and trying to praise it here is kind of like how the barv is then explained in the game. You are supposed to do something physical to really have that apology hit home. It's also not meant to be a big thing, like saying sorry too much or something like that. Yet the entire sequence contradicts itself by over-explaining what a barv is, because Taash is then addressed incorrectly, along with it being beaten over the player's head with that explanation and then hammered further with another character then pulling a barv because they took the last of Taash's preferred snacks. Look, I am not knocking the writer if they enjoyed the game. That is fine, that is their opinion. But this feels like you are gaslighting me because what you are saying about the game is not then presented at all when observing the game itself, especially in the case of Taash, the key thing that really helped you win you over. Then the writer brings in the election results for the Veilguard, even discussing that this was not the result or outcome that they had hoped for, that for the next 4 years they're going to be draining for this individual to help fight back the supposed regressive politics that would be coming in to make life harder for people that the writer loves. So the writer tries to compare the fight for survival in Veilguard to the fight to press on after the re-election of Donald Trump. I am all for trying to connect stuff, but this feels like such a huge stretch, and that this entire article built up to a way for the writer to then vent about their disappointment with the election. Like, if you're not happy with the election, whatever, but this does not really relate to Dragon Age at all, unless Trump makes an appearance in the game. I'm not aware that he is in the game. Maybe if he was, it would be a lot better. Up until this point in the article, I'm kind of like, okay, I can follow, and it's okay. This is what this person is enjoying. I don't agree with all of it, and I think they are wrong in some areas, but they haven't really played the prior games, so they don't know that. And again, it's interesting to hear from a different perspective. But once we get to the Trump part, that is where you completely lose me. This article honestly feels like a relic from when Trump was first elected in 2016, and everybody was losing their minds over it. This right here is exactly why many gamers do not like the games media and how they go about talking about games. Plus, just as a publication, they must know that Trump won in a landslide, so why potentially alienate a lot of people who voted for him that are gamers as well? Stuff like this is one of the reasons I started my channel. I got sick of how the games media was going about talking about their games, but I will, if given the opportunity, poke fun at this type of stuff when I see it. What are your thoughts on this article? Is this writer alone? Did you happen to start Dragon Age, not like it, and then it won you over? Did it help you overcome the election of Donald Trump again? Or did you just go about your life because you're an adult? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.